3 years
Good
ago.
morning, everybody. Here
Good
we
morning.
are live on the Art of Encouragement. I'm Nick Patterson. Today, of course, we have Mark Gai and that encourager that we have found and started journeying with us, none other than Greg McClintock. So
Hey
I
guys,
am excited to be here with you all today. And let's go. Let's hear what has been encouraging to you and how have you encouraged over the last 7 days. Whoever wants to start.
I've been encouraged by seeing my daughter hug her mother and her mother tell her she loves her. She's passing from this life this very hour. We found out a few moments ago. And is that encouraging? It absolutely is. It's kind of been estranged. My daughter's there. And the first thing her mother did when she rose up out of the bed on her arrival was grab her face and say, I love you. My daughter has wondered that for many, many, many years for many reasons. I told her always, it's the word last spoken, always go. She went for Mother's Day last week. She didn't want to because of negativity, she thought, but it went well. And now you don't know what a day brings. So I'm encouraged that she was encouraged simply by her mother saying, I love you. But the doctrine I've been teaching her through the mail for years, that when we reunited 5 years ago and here in West Virginia, Ohio, the last word spoken, be careful what you say. Don't let the sun go down upon your wrath. I might argue, hey, I'm sorry, go to bed. So it's just very encouraging to know that life is real, love is abundant, and if you apply it, you'll get it back. So I'm very encouraged by that situation.
How about you,
I
Mark?
agree. I agree with you, Greg. So since I have the mic, the hot mic on this morning,
Oh
if
my,
you're watching us, listening to us, one thing I'm encouraged personally on this personal journey is to a lot of times, people are stuck in they're stuck in their not in their ways, but they're stuck in the same way of thinking. Maybe somebody did you wrong, or maybe something you're ashamed of, or something you did. So your past doesn't have to define who you are now, or an opinion of somebody else about you does not have to become your reality. That's what I wanted to say. And also, even if some experiences you have experienced or your family, some negative ones too, I believe they actually enriched your life. So instead of trying to downplay them or not bring them up to the surface, my position is to thank it. Be grateful. Say, well, thank you for this experience. I'm glad you went through this in your life. I may not like it, I may not approve, or it's not for me, but I'm grateful you did, and that's what I have.
Excellent. Well, thank you so much both for sharing this morning. This week has been encouraging to me as well. I have been able to intersect with people from all over the world this week in a variety of capacities, both through marketing as well as through my new position with Toastmasters as the club growth director for the district. I couldn't say a lot about that beforehand because that entire election process. They do it well. They do it. I don't want to say secretive, but it's one of those things where there's definitely protocols to follow for campaigning after being nominated and that sort of thing. And the response I've received has been very encouraging because people are wanting something new. We're out of this COVID world. We are starting that journey, and as many have already been on it, others are ready to just let go of some of the barriers that were placed during those 2.5 years or so. And to see people wanting to come together again, to see uh, people wanting to learn from each other in in that organic way where we meet together, whether it's through Zoom or whether it's in person. I I'm excited because people are not satisfied right now. And when people are not satisfied, we have potential. We have potential to grow with each other. We have potential to go when we're not satisfied from this level to this level. And so if you're not satisfied today, I want to say you're not wrong. You're not wrong at all. If you're not satisfied with the status quo, if you're not satisfied with not moving forward in your life, good for you. But what are you going to do about it? It takes more than being upset and not satisfied. It takes action. So as you're reflecting today, we heard such an amazing account from Greg this morning about action. His daughter didn't know whether she wanted to go through with that meeting with her mother, but she did. That set the ground and almost paved the road for her to be with her now during these moments, as Greg said, where she is going from this life to the next. That's incredible. That is incredible, Greg. But it took Crystal having action. It took that action. And so many times we're afraid to make those first steps because status quo comes up and it says, well, do you really have to be the one to make the first step? Shouldn't they make the first step? They're the one that wronged you. And we can sit over here in our place, in our throne of entitlement and of us having been in the right, even. Or we can choose to just take the first step. Say, regardless of what happened, here I am. I'm ready to move forward. I choose a new path. And when we do that, we take that dominant, proactive role of saying, that's the past. Let's move forward. And when we take that control, we have that ability to see different outcomes. If we go with the way we've always been thinking of a situation, a family member, a business situation, if we block it in and we say it has to be this outcome, we're boxing ourselves in. So go forward, take those first steps, and own the situation so you can control the outcome. That's how I would encourage you today. Have you guys ever experienced that where it seems like 2 plus 2 has to equal 4? This is the only outcome. But because you own it, you intersect with it differently, the outcome's drastically different, and 2 plus 2 might equal 9.
I like your math, Nick. 2 plus 2 equals 9. That's a good
It got
business
me in a
math.
lot of trouble back in another part of my life. No.
It's
Bad, bad math.
that's an interesting math. So I it's very encouraging, opportunistic. I want to hear from Greg. Looks like he's on a roll today. I'm sorry.
Well, it all depends on where you're at in the world. We're WWW. I used to think it was a cartoon guy. Now that I'm technologically inclined, World Wide Web, and we want to encourage the world because the world needs us. And in my world, my daughter got to see me practice this principle that I've coached her on years ago. Years ago, when I had my drug addiction, decades. I ended up in prison for 2 decades. When I came home, the last thing that anybody thought I wanted to do was see my father, who pretty much broke the home and abandoned us when we were all teenagers or less. And but I had learned, my mind had changed, that I had so much bitterness and hatred for my father throughout life that I'm working the step of recovery, even though I was in prison. And you come to like step 4, you make a brutal inventory. Then you come down to the other steps. And at some point, you engage in the steps of recovery, how to make amends to other people as long as it doesn't make any harm. Well, my father, I can never see. I'm doing a life sentence. So when the miracle happened, I want to ride the miracle wave. I got out and I went to his state where he was at, which is 5 states from where I was at. I borrowed my mother's vehicle and I drove up to his front door, hit the OnStar in the car, made the phone call. My stepmother, me and my younger brother sound a lot alike on the phone. I said, "Hey, is dad there?" She said, "Hold on a minute," and went to walk away and said, "Is this my brother's name?" I says, "No, no, no, it's not. Is this my brother's name?" And I said, "No, this is Greg." And then she says, "Hold on a minute." And then the phone hung up. I thought, "Oh, no, no, I've done something wrong." I hit the OnStar button again, and I got the recording, and here's the play to wait for the end. Leave a message. So I said this: "Dad, this is Greg. I'm sure you're surprised by me being here. I'm surprised myself, but God had a plan. I just wanted to see and carry out what God asked me to do. I would like to see you. I love you. Here's my phone number and everything I've prayed for you, that you would prosper, that you would be well, and that you would be long life. You're here, you're 81 years old. He lives in probably a $300,000 property." And then the phone blew up. Uh, 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 like an Amber Alert. What is this? Or like I'm on a federal nuclear property or military base. The state patrol has been alerted in the local area. You're in an unauthorized area. Wow. He called the police. As I'm driving away down this long country road in southern Wisconsin, something magical happened. It was like driving through a car wash. I felt the panic of everything as I'm going through the car wash and the water came over me and I felt the cool wind and the green light. I had another spiritual release experience. The fullness of peace just filled the vehicle and around me, and I drove away. And I haven't worried or wondered or thought hatred toward him since. It's just gone. How do you say? I can't explain it. Gone. So my daughter got to see me do that. And then when it's difficult for her to go to Mother's Day, I said, "Honey, if I can do it, it's not that bad. You can do it." And that, I hope, was part of her reasoning. And she went, and it's not even Sunday yet. And Mother's Day was 5 days ago, and her mother's leaving this life. So the last impression, push forward, like Nick was just saying, go past it. Don't just put it can stay in its box. But I was living a miracle while being present. So I got to do something. And then I wondered, of course he would go away. He went away years ago. I'm seeking him, and I am not sad. It's a freedom. It's a freedom to forgive and be forgiven. So, Mark?
I don't know how I can follow up on this. I love the ability to let go. I think we can hang on to hate and anger, and okay, a year passes, 5 years passes, 10 years passes, and you still hold on to that anger. And what good did it do? Nothing. And then you realize, well, let me follow along and let me release it. I'm no longer responsible for carrying this, and you can move on and rebuild.
Absolutely. And as you said, the freedom is in that choice to move on. The freedom is in that choice to move on. Like you, Greg, I've had family members that I'm estranged with due to my decade out or so. And I had all of these illusions that the minute I was released, we would be a big, happy family. There would be kumbaya moments. And sadly, that's not been the case. There are people in my family, and my adopted brother in particular, that, there's just, there is a division there. There's a complete division where it doesn't matter. It doesn't matter what's said, what's done, accomplishments. Those things do not matter. There's a divide. And I had to reconcile that. I had to come to peace with that I'm not doing anything I'm doing to prove anything to anyone. I'm enjoying the successes I have. And it was interesting to have that same release and that same peace that Greg described when dealing with my family members, because I can't force anyone to call me. I can't force anyone to want to hang out with me. I can't force any of those things, but what I can do is control my own peace and to realize that my expectations aren't really founded. I should not have really had those expectations without having, grounds for them. This is uncharted territory, and I only let myself down because I had built in my mind a vision of what it could be, of what that restoration would look like. And to be at peace is is a wonderful thing because I love happy endings in movies. I love when, the good guy gets the girl. I love when everyone comes together at the end, but often in life that is not the case. If we know people, we know that people have problems, and that those people that where we would love to have restored relationships, they're not perfect either. And to see them in that way, to where we forgive them where they are for not having an openness, for probably carrying guilt themselves, for not doing things, as I was younger, for not stepping in and giving a hand and saying, you know, Nick, perhaps look at doing this with your life. And because they didn't take those steps, there's guilt there. And other family members have shared that with me. And that just helps me to see, that we can hold people in such high esteem. We can put people on pedestals, especially when we're younger, with those patriarch figures in our families, that they would do no wrong, that they are perfect, but they aren't. And just as we are human and we've made mistakes, sometimes their mistakes can be not extending grace, not opening their arms. And when we realize they're not perfect either, we can move on. And I encourage everyone to do that. Move on, but put your effort into the reconciliation. I know I put my effort in. And perhaps, like we discussed last week, in the book of Ecclesiastes, it says, cast your bread upon the waters, and after many days it will return to you. And I know I've done that, and I will never close my heart or my mind to reconciliation, but it's not something that I have to be complete either. Have you ever felt that way, Mark?
Yeah, I have a lot of things that are happening in my mind as I'm hearing both of you share today. One thing to say is everyone has different cultural and upbringing. You have a different upbringing in this part of the world, in this country, in this part of the state, in everywhere, and also of different cultural heritage as well. And what I also have found and learned now is that while we love, adore, and respect our siblings, parents, children, other relatives, we're not ultimately responsible for their happiness, right? You cannot carry their burdens for them, because if you keep carrying their burdens, and then your life is gone, and you're thinking, like, what did I do? Oh, I was carrying everyone's burdens, and now I have nothing left. And it's just a great feeling to be free to carry the burdens of others. I mean, you can help, but don't take more. Don't take that what's not yours. You can help, because you are a human being and you are compassionate, but don't take something that is not yours. And yeah, and also I want to marvel at this. You were talking about the COVID and what has happened. We are living in a historic moment. And why do I say that? Because if it wasn't for that health crisis, we wouldn't be here today. We wouldn't have any idea. People adapting Zoom and online meetings. So we as a humanity paid the price by maybe losing 2.5 years so we can come together in the way that we are now. So there is a price to pay for almost everything in your life. If you want to be number one in your niche, in your craft, you pay the price. If you want to have a good relationship and good health, you have to pay the price. So we collectively paid the price for 2.5 years so we can come together now in this way. That's what I wanted to say.
Beautiful. Greg, you're muted, buddy. Greg, let's unmute.
The world will never know what they'll come to find out. They wish they could mute me and they can turn me off. But there's family that wishes they had a remote for me. But I'm a talker. I was born that way. Hey, can we mute Greg? No, you just gotta, hey, come back here. I want to talk to you. I'm that kind of guy. Which brings me to what segue to what I was going to say. Casting your bread upon the waters. I come out of prison. I go to a big church. I meet with a pastor secretively, kinda, and a Bob Evans. Hey, look, this is who I am. Love the church. We align. We share the common faith. May I become a member? But before you say something, sure, be a member. But let me tell you where I'm from. Tell him everything. And he said this to me. He said, if you can't be a member at the church that we're at, we both need a church to go forward in because life is about going forward no matter where you drove in from. You came from Utah or from Ohio, change the tag, become a resident, come on in. And that stuck with me, of course. Now, 4 years licensed minister by him, about to become a district pastor by him, and hearing him preach. I heard him say this recently. His name is Matt Hancock, Cornerstone Nazarene. The world needs to know him. Follow him on Facebook Live every Sunday. Unbelievable teacher. He says he was in a context of teaching about going forward in life problems and everything. He said, no one can do in my life until they've done what I've done. You can come alongside me, but you can't speak to me just because you come get a title. The next guy mentored me, Chance Cooper, pastor, phenomenal guy, been through everything unimaginable at the young age of 31. He got up and said one time to the whole crowd, just because I'm a pastor, I have no right to speak into your life until I know you. You take both of them. You can't come alongside me and tell me I'm wrong for the joy that I have. So you've done what I've done. And on the other way, I have no right, the other staff says I have no right to even speak to you other than you're willing to hear me. My title doesn't give me the authority. I have to know you. And that's what we're trying to do now with the art of encouragement, getting to know each other. So I was a greeter during this whole time. I'll just get on the front door. There's my church position. 4 years of that, I cannot walk through this collective in the small little villages and small town around in the county might be 70,000 people. I cannot rarely walk anywhere and not have at least one throughout my day. Hi, Greg. Walmart, Bob Evans, another church. Oh, hey, Greg. I recognize their faces because there's 800, whatever. But I get to hi, Greg. I just throw out good morning, welcome to Cornerstone. Now they're calling me by name. You cast it out, 4 years go by. Now you're a commonly known person. What does that mean? Wow, it means everything. You're significant in life. You have friendships. People know your name. They might be praying for you. They wonder what you've done. Have you impacted them? If someone knows you by name and gives you salutation, even on the remotest place in the slightest way, you've impacted them and know that your impact matters. Impact me, Mark. You have greatly.
Greg, it seems to me you are embody the role of a community pillar. You're the
I'm big.
community.
I'm almost 7 foot. I mean,
So you're the pillar. You're the pillar on which community stands. So, I think in history we always needed people who bring people together, and I think you're one of them.
right.
Like, if something happens or there's an emergency or something, somebody wants you in their corner, right? Somebody they can rely to and say, okay, we need Greg. We need Greg. He's gonna help us. He's gonna maybe organize something. He's gonna maybe get some, or maybe deliver something, or get us something. You are one of those people that people can rely on. Isn't that true?
I work for that. I hope for that. I've heard that on occasion, and it's humbling to hear someone talk about that because all my life I've been a taker, and now I wrestle. Am I giving? Am I expecting too much? Because when I go in my taking mode, even in my mind, I am miserable. So I check myself. Am I giving out enough, socially into someone, listening, just whatever? Am I giving or am I taking? Taking is still steals much of my time in my life, even in my personal thoughts. But when I set that aside, I accomplish more for the day, and people want to be. Uh, it's magnetic. If people know that you're willing to receive them, they will be drawn to you. It's a spiritual thing. I believe it's God's design to where people feel a safe place they can come along and talk to you. I'm not like the mentoring guy. I'm the guy you want to go have fun with and change your mind because you're having a bummer day. And that's what we do.
And Greg,
But
wouldn't you say with what you shared earlier, where you're going through, hi, Greg. Hey, Greg, how's it going? Greg, those people calling to you aren't, don't you believe that they provide a form of accountability to you as well? Because they depend on you. They depend on you to be
yeah,
that welcoming figure that and one of the things we're taught in, licensing school and ministry is that whenever you stand before a congregation, especially if you're preaching, you're representing the Lord. And so if you're the one saying welcome and people associate you, with that, that's an incredible responsibility. It
well,
truly is.
it
And
is. Yes.
and I should think that that will also help you, as you said, with the taking thoughts. When you're doing that, I'm not going to take from someone that associates me with the Lord. I'm not going to take just those people that hate Greg's. I could see being tremendously helpful for you as a true north, as that compass, as the place that keeps you grounded, centered, and guided could be as simple as a hey, Greg. And that's fantastic.
It's absolutely encouraging to me because I find the times they happen to come across my path is the time of the day or a period of a week. I'm fighting that negativity, whether it be work related or I got in my own head, or you start to slide down to, well, I've done well, but this is probably the plateau. Hey, Greg. Oh, hey, I recognize the face. There's too many of you guys. You guys outnumber me. You got me alone. Is it okay? Yeah, I am. And then they reaffirm their name. And then that takes us to another. So 2 Sundays later, he'll walk, hey, Vern. Oh, hi, Greg. Nice at church. I usually say, good morning, welcome to Cornerstone. Good morning, welcome to Cornerstone. But I met him in public and then they called my name. They believe I don't know the name of everybody. I admit that. They gave me their name. And then now I'm calling them my name. And my friend group, my personal name in a very big church is growing and growing and growing. Last week, imagine the surprise of accountability. I was at Hollywood Hair. The name of my company for stripping and waxing floors is called The Stripper. Got the shirt, got everything, because you won't remember who did a good job. You threw the card away. But when you Google that in the local area, only one company comes up, and that was the intent. I'm in Hollywood Hair, and Nick called. That was a thing for the show last week. It was funny. Well, I finished the job over the weekend, but I'm not a control freak, but I want to make sure. What if you wax this humongous store? It's all glassy chandeliers. And what if on the last coat you miss a spot that big and it's in the middle of the floor? You better go back and check after it dried. So I'm going back to check. I've got the keys. I walk in, they know I'm going to be on the property. Walk through the store, it's huge. Turn the lights on, coming back through the store. The whole front of the wall of the store is glass, about 20-foot glass. Hollywood Hair, chandeliers hanging. I'm walking toward the front of the store. the place explodes. Ah, ah, ah. Alarm. She set the alarm, even though I was coming. And I'm standing in the store, and all I'm looking at is red lights, two cop cars outside the store. I'm waving at them to go. So I immediately pull out my phone, fake a call. I went, hey guys, thanks for coming. The alarm's goofy again. Sir, please come over here. So imagine someone drove by who's at high grade. What are they going to say this coming Sunday? So I've been blowing it up on Facebook, the picture of what really happened and everything for the accountability reason you said. And it was harmless. They shut the alarm off. All was good. And when they drove away, I realized they didn't even ask me for an ID. And I said, God's good. How great is that? I'm just a stripper guy. My name's Greg. You don't need to know nothing else. And be encouraged. You guys are doing a great job, man. Hey, man, what if a criminal would have been here? You know, you'd have been on top of it. All that stuff. Those situations go sideways for friends that I know. But so.
Greg, from what little I know about you, you have shared in the last 6 or 7 months that you like comedy and you
Oh,
like
love it.
communicate through humor. So I think this was a God gift. Everything is a God gift, but this was a specially wrapped God's gift for you. It's gonna give you material for years, okay, maybe months, that you can talk about and bring the tension and don't tell the resolution and just bring. I see a great future for you as a great speaker. You're already a great speaker, but I think you are an extraordinary communicator, my friend. With stories like this and just the way you present it, I think people will be at the edge of their seats and they're gonna tell their stories to their spouses and to somebody. Oh, but the stripper guy. Yes, 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 of course, the whole story and everything. And I think this is a great way that you can position your business too.
I play them all the way around. Sometimes, well, I'm now on the district. I'm getting closer to pastor's license. I'm actually going out. I went to a conference. They've given me 3 places to go. One's a revival, and the other 2 are just filling in for pastors. Their wives are having a baby, or they have an illness or surgeries. That's from the director in Columbus. I'm going to a couple different churches, yet to be told what they are. I'm also part of the compassionate ministry for the Nazarene denomination, which in the 72 churches in the district, one time this year, they have a bumper video about compassionate ministries. I get up to a 5 to 7 minute Toastmaster presentation of why you support the missionary kids in the area in Moscow. Because our missionaries there, their school is full, but the other kids are looking through the window. The missionaries sent this, 100% of your donation goes there. If we send them and we don't equip them, would you not buy a backpack for the kid? Of course you do. Instead of buying the backpack locally, let's send it across the water. Appreciate your support. And I will put that on the world because that's what I'll be doing throughout the year. So it just keeps growing. So reputation and networking and talking and encouraging. Now I'm asking for kids that are broken that I've never met as a kid that was broken and never met his father. Already writing the story. Life writes the story itself. It's amazing if you'll just try. Opportunity meets you in the way. Zig Ziglar, the famous quote, uh, President Donald Trump threw it out there yesterday in Bronx. The harder you work, the luckier you get. It's never luck. You're just taking all the no answers. Probably if somebody opens the door and hugs you, glad you're here. You're just looking for that person. It's what you're looking for. Now, I hope I don't get another closed door. Just where they at? Oh, there you are. And the perspective, the drive, and the rejection. There is no rejection. Just haven't found them yet. And that whole change is to God's credit and people like you and Tony Robbins and just any information you can get on the art of spreading inspiration by encouragement. And it's very effective, very effective.
Yeah. Like you said, the life writes the story only if we listen, right? If we pay attention, and see.
That's it. And so everyone pay attention. Pay attention to what's going on around you. Little ordinary things can become extraordinary depending on the lens in which we view them. You know, something that can be as simple as a trip to the grocery store can turn into an adventure where we intersect with people from all over the world who are also buying produce. Those little ordinary moments, make the most out of them. We don't know how many we'll have. And as we go through and as we connect with each other in this journey of life, let's impact people. Let's be positive. Let's tell them to have a great day. Let's be the people that say, hey, Greg, let's be intentional about sharing life, spreading hope, inspiring change through encouragement. It's an art, and any artist has had to learn how to practice. You know, through practice, they've gotten good. But they started small and then they've grown bigger. So you may say that I can't impact anyone today, but you can. You can start with your heart. Start with your heart. So have a wonderful week. We are the Art of Encouragement. Nick Patterson, Mark Gai, Greg McClintock. We love you all. We will see you next week right here, 10 a.m. on Friday. See you next week.
See you guys.
Take care.